actually remembered to not code. Oh, this is trippy.
All right, so we're going to wait. Actually, no, we're not going to wait. So I'm just going to record this whole thing, and then I'm going to post it after so that people can watch us,
Yeah.
Even though there's literally no one here.
Isn't there, like, archives or something?
Archives? What do you mean?
Like, you could archive, I don't know.
I mean, I can put it on private so no one can see it. I can also put it on unlisted so only a few people can see it. So, like, only the people in the Discord can see it.
Maybe.
Oh, I need a post on the Discord saying, hey, yeah, we're... There you are. How do I... Share. Copy link.
Ooh.
Yeah, so, hello, everybody who's not here yet. You can join this later. You know who's gonna join? Yeah, I'm probably. But today on the poll, since Percy Jackson, the Lightning Thief won, it's like flipped, but whatever. We're gonna be reading it. I need to plug my phone in. Yeah. So, do you want to get started right now, or do you want to wait a bit?
I don't know. Maybe 5 minutes in we start.
Yeah, we'll start reading 5 minutes in. Hello, person that just joined. How are you doing today?
I could keep an eye on the chat. I could keep on an eye on the chat from.
Oh no, it just pops up on my screen whenever someone.
It does not pop up on mine.
Oh,
and
hello, second person.
You're gonna be reading.
Oh, that would make more sense. Yeah, you should probably do that.
Let me. I don't have advanced on this phone, do I? All right, explanation for that.
It's me on the stream.
Explanation
Whoever said it's me on the stream, hello. I don't know who you are because I didn't see who it was.
That's Ella.
Yeah, I knew it was you. I knew it was you. So smart. All right, I gotta move this. My bookshelf. Sorry,
I'll be able to see the chat in just a minute. I have to sign in.
That's me. I knew it was you, though. No need to be so mean to me. I just said I knew it was you. Oh, whatever.
All right.
Yeah. So we're gonna start reading at 5 minutes in. It's only been like halfway through the time. Can't chat yet. Oh, there it is.
Oh God. Notifications off.
It says like a minute.
Ringtone.
You can chat after a minute.
We turned everything down. We turned everything off. I'm looking. I'm gonna be looking at the chat, and I need.
Okay. Well, just while I'm reading,
Yeah.
I'm looking at my eyeliner, by the way. I'm not winking at you.
Hold on. Where do I prop up this phone?
I don't know. I don't even know where the tablet I had earlier went.
All right.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that works. That works. I'm using.
Yes, you can, even though you're the only person in here. One-sided dice. Hello.
I
Oh,
have Blanky,
hello,
and
other
it's
person.
5 minutes in.
In my Discord.
Who's these?
Oh.
Oh, the second person is me. I'm dumb.
Oh. Wait.
Hold on. Oh my god, I'm the dumbest person ever. I don't have to look to the side. The thing that I'm propping it up on is big enough that I can see both of them at the same time.
Guess what I lost? The tablet. That's not the tablet that she has over there. Well, we're almost at 5 minutes in, so
We are 5 minutes in. We're 6 minutes. We're 6
no, it
minutes in.
says 4:30. It says 4:30. Oh, it's because I left to text the Discord to talk to the Discord. Okay, so today we will be reading Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief.
With Miss Me, who will be muting myself real quick. I'll be muting myself in just a sec.
I'm reading, so
I'll be muting
now for
myself.
5 minutes. Oh, you zoomed in. You zoomed in somehow. How'd you do that?
Did I? Did I?
It moved your phone toward yourself.
All right, muting myself in 3, 2, 1.
I gotta mute myself too. I'm talking to my sister. Alright, I muted myself. Apparently my little sister's gonna be sleeping on my beanbag. Here's a blanket.
I'm lit up now. I'm no longer dark.
It disconnected me. It disconnected me. I accidentally turned on my airplane mode. That was a bad idea. Anyway, I'm gonna start reading now. The Lightning Thief. Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the Lightning Thief Rick Riordan. I don't know how to say it.
Riordan. It's pronounced Riordan.
Riordan. Alright. You can follow along if you have the book with you. What is that? Okay, whatever. Chapter 1. I accidentally vaporized my pre-algebra teacher. Bethany, you are being called downstairs. You're May. Okay. Look, I didn't want to be a half-blood. If you're reading this because you think you might be one, my advice is close this book right now. Believe whatever lie your mom or dad told you about your birth and try to lead a normal life. Being a half-blood is dangerous. It's scary. Most of the time it gets you killed in painful, nasty ways. Sorry, I got off track. I just saw the thing. Sorry. If you're a normal kid reading this because you think it's fiction, great, read on. I envy you for being able to believe that none of this ever happened. But if you recognize yourself in these pages, if you feel something stirring inside, stop reading immediately. You might be one of us. And once you know that, it's only a matter of time before they sense it too. They'll come for you. Don't say I didn't warn you. My door just opened. My door just opened. My door just opened. It scared me. Okay. Don't say I didn't warn you. My name is Percy Jackson. I'm 12 years old. Until a few months ago, I was boarding student at Yancey Academy, a private school for troubled kids in upstate New York. Am I a troubled kid? Yeah, you could say that. I could start at any point, but in short, my miserable life. Alright, I could start at any point in my short, miserable life to prove it, but things really started going bad last May when our 6th grade class took a field trip to Manhattan. 28 mental case kids and 2 teachers on a yellow school bus heading to the Metropolitan Museum of Art to look at ancient Greek and Roman stuff. I know it sounds like torture, most Yancey field trips were, but Mr. Brunner, our Latin teacher, was leading this trip, so I had high hopes. Mr. Brunner was this middle-aged guy in a motorized wheelchair. He had thinning hair and a scruffy beard and a frayed tweed jacket, which always smelled like coffee. You wouldn't think he'd be cool, but he told stories and jokes and let us play games in class. He also had this awesome collection of Roman armor and weapons. So he was the only teacher in class that didn't put me asleep. I hoped the trip would be okay. At least I hoped for once I wouldn't get in trouble. Boy, was I wrong. See, bad things happen to me on field trips. Like at my 5th grade school when we went to the Saratoga battlefield, I had this accident with a Revolutionary War cannon. I wasn't aiming for the school bus, but of course I got expelled anyway. And before that, at my 4th grade school, we took a behind-the-scenes tour of the Marine World Shark Pool. I sort of hit the wrong lever on the catwalk, and our class took an unplanned swim. And the time before that, well, you get the idea. Oh, get out? This trip, I was determined to be good. All the way into the city, I put up with Nancy Bobofit, the freckly, red-headed kleptomaniac girl, hitting my best friend Grover in the back of the head with chunks of peanut butter and ketchup sandwich. Kleptomaniac? I don't know.
Yeah, you got it right. Kleptomaniac. I'm pretty sure no, it's a pyromaniac. I have no. I'm gonna Google it real quick.
My sister just asked what it was. So, Grover was an easy target. He was scrawny, he cried when he got frustrated. He must have been held back several grades, because he was the only 6th grader with acne and the start of a wispy beard on his chin. On top of all that, he was crippled. He had a note excusing him from PE for the rest of his life because he had some kind of muscular disease in his legs. Last. He walked funny, like every step hurt him, but don't let that fool you. You should have seen him run when it was enchilada day in the cafeteria. See, look, my door's open. Anyway, Nancy Bobofit was throwing wads of sandwich that stuck in his curly brown hair. And she knew I couldn't do anything back to her because I was already on probation. The headmaster had threatened me with death by in-school suspension if anything bad, embarrassing, or even mildly entertaining happened on this trip. I'm going to kill her, I mumbled. Grover tried to calm me down. It's okay, I like peanut butter. He dodged another piece of Nancy's lunch. That's it. I started to get up, but Grover pulled me back in my seat.
I have another question. Why would anyone want to eat ketchup and peanut butter sandwich?
I don't know.
It sounds disgusting.
I don't know. Let me read the book, please.
Ew.
You're already on probation, he reminded me. You know who'll get blamed if anything happens? Looking back on it, I wish I'd decked Nancy Bobo Fett right then and there. In-school suspension would have been nothing compared to the mess I was about to get myself into. Mr. Renner led me to the museum tour. He rode up in his wheelchair, guiding us through those big echoey galleries, past marble statues and glass cases full of really old black and orange pottery. It blew my mind that this stuff had survived for 2,000, 3,000 years. He gathered us around a 13-foot-tall stone column with a big sphinx on top and started telling us about how it was a grave marker, a seal, for a girl about our age. He told us about the carvings on the sides. I was trying to listen to what he had to say, but it was kind of interesting. Because it was kind of interesting. But everybody around me was talking, and every time I told them to shut up, the other teacher chaperone, Mrs. Dodds, would give me the evil eye. Mrs. Dodds was this little math teacher from Georgia who always wore a black leather jacket. Even though she was 50 years old, she looked mean enough to write a Harley right into your locker. She had come to Yancey halfway through the year when our last math teacher had a nervous breakdown. From her first day, Mrs. Dodds loved Nancy Boba Fett, and I figured I was devil spawn. She would point her crooked finger at me and said, Now, honey," real sweet, and I knew I was going to get after school detention for a month.
Why are you talking like that?
Because I'm laughing. One time after she'd made me erase answers out of old math workbooks until midnight, I told Grover I didn't think Mrs. Dodds was human. He looked at me real serious and said, "You're absolutely right." Mr. Runner kept talking about Greek funeral art. Finally, Nancy Boba Fett snickered something about the naked guy on the steel, and I turned around and said, "Will you shut up?" It came out louder than I meant it to. The whole group laughed. Mr. Brunner stopped his story. "Mr. Jackson," he said, "did you have a comment?" My face was totally red. I said, "No, sir." Mr. Brunner pointed to one of the pictures on the steel. "Perhaps you'll tell us what this picture represents?" I looked at the carving and felt a flush of relief because I actually recognized me. "That's Kronos eating his kids, right?" "Yes," Mr. Brunner said, obviously not satisfied, "and he did this because..." Well, I racked my brain to remember Kronos was the king god, and God? Mr. Brunner asked. "Titan," I corrected myself. "And he didn't trust his kids, who were the gods, so, Kronos ate them, right? But his wife hid baby Zeus and gave Kronos a rock to eat instead. And later, when Zeus grew up, he tricked his dad, Kronos, into barfing up his brothers and sisters." "Ew," said one of the girls behind me. And so there was this big fight between the gods and the Titans, I continued, and the gods won. Some snickers from the group. Behind me, Nancy Boba Fett mumbled to a friend, like we're going to use this in real life, like it's going to say on our job applications, "Please explain why Kronos ate his kids." Can you shut my door?
Wait, can I tell you?
Oh my gosh. Yes, what do you want to tell me?
When you eat something, it takes 48 days, 48 hours to go through the full stomach tract feeding. So the children that he ate would have been dead by then.
Oh my gosh.
How does that make sense?
He's a Titan, not a human, okay?
All living is new.
And he's literally made out of, like, rocks.
He might not be a living being. He might just be a piece of rock.
And why, Mr. Jackson? Brenner said. To paraphrase Miss Boba Fett's excellent question, does this matter in real life? Busted. Grover muttered. "Shut up," Nancy hissed, her face even brighter red than her hair. At least Nancy got packed, too. Mr. Brunner was the only one who ever caught her saying anything wrong. He had radar ears, even though I thought about his question and shrugged. I don't know, sir. I see. Mr. Brunner looked disappointed. Well, half credit, Mr. Jackson. Zeus did indeed feed Kronos a mixture of mustard and wine, which made him disgorge his other 5 children, who, of course, being immortal gods, had been living and growing completely undigested in the Titan's stomach. That's why. What was that?
I have to go real quick. I have no clue. I have to BRB, I guess.
Okay. I will continue reading. I don't know where it was. The immortal gods had been living. Right, now I know where I am. The gods defeated their father, sliced him into pieces with his own scythe, and scattered his remains in Tartarus, the darkest part of the underworld. On that happy note, it's time for lunch, Mrs. Dodds. Would you like to lead us back outside? The class drifted off, the girls holding their stomachs, the guys pushing each other around and acting like doofuses. Grover and I were about to follow when Mr. Brunner said, Mr. Jackson? I knew that was coming. I told Grover to keep going. Then I turned toward Mr. Brunner. Sir? Mr. Brunner had this look that wouldn't let you go, intense brown eyes that could have been 1,000 years old, and had seen everything. You must learn the answer to my question, Mr. Brunner said. Mr. Brunner told me. About the Titans? Oh, about real life. And how your studies apply to it. Oh, what you learned from me, he said, is vitally important. I expect you to treat it as such. I will only accept the best from you, Miss Percy Jackson. I wanted to get angry. This guy pushed me so hard. I mean, sure, it was kind of cool on tournament days when he dressed up in a suit of Roman armor and shouted, "What ho!" and challenged us, sword point against chalk, to run to the board and name every Greek and Roman person who had ever lived in their mother and what god they worshipped. But Mr. Brunner expected me to be as good as everyone else, despite the fact that I have dyslexia and attention deficit disorder, and I had never made above a C- in my life. No, he didn't expect me to be as good. He expected me to be better. And I just couldn't learn all those names and facts, much less spell them correctly. I mumbled something about trying harder, while Mr. Brunner took one long, sad look at the seal like he'd been at this girl's funeral. He told me to go outside and eat my lunch. The class gathered on the front steps of the museum, where we could watch the foot traffic along Fifth Avenue. Overhead, a huge storm was brewing, with clouds blacker than I'd ever seen over the city. I figured maybe it was global warming or something, because the weather all across New York State had been weird since Christmas. We'd had massive snowstorms, flooding, wildfires from lightning strikes. I wouldn't have been surprised if this was a hurricane blowing in. Nobody else seemed to notice. Some of the guys were pelting pigeons with Lunchables, crackers. Nancy Bubblefoot was trying to pickpocket something from a lady's purse, and of course Mrs. Dodds wasn't seeing a thing. Grover and I sat on the edge of the fountain, away from the others. We thought that maybe if we did that, everybody wouldn't know that we were from that school. This school for loser freaks who couldn't make it elsewhere. Detention? Grover asked. Nah, I said, not from Brunner. I just wish he'd lay off me sometimes. I mean, I'm not a genius. Grover didn't say anything for a while. Then, when I thought he was going to give me some deep philosophical comment to make me feel better, he said, "Can I have your apple?" I didn't have much of an appetite, so I let him take it.
I'm gonna. The word is philosophical.
Philosophical, yeah.
It's
Thank
pronounced
you.
weird.
What? What? Oh, the kleptomaniac? I don't know. I never figured out.
It's a intense need and urge to steal things. I googled it and sent it in chat.
Okay.
I don't remember seeing that.
Did I
Oh,
send
I
it?
see it now.
Unstoppable urge to steal. That's what it is. That's what I sent.
That's what it is, talking to your little sister. Okay. Thank you for explaining. Alright. That was kind of confusing. Anyway, I watched the stream of cabs going down Fifth Avenue and thought about my mom's apartment, only a little ways uptown from where we sat. I hadn't seen her since Christmas. I wanted so bad to jump in a taxi and head home. She'd hug me and be glad to see me, but she'd be disappointed too. She'd send me right back to Yancey, remind me that I had to try harder even if this was my sixth school in 6 years and I was probably going to be kicked out again. I wouldn't be able to stand that sad look she'd give me. Mr. Brenner parked his wheelchair at the base of the handicapped ramp. He ate celery while he read a paperback novel, a red umbrella stuck up from the back of his chair and making it look like a motorized cafe table. I was about to unwrap my sandwich when Nancy Bobofit appeared in front of me with her ugly friends. I guess she'd gotten tired of stealing from the tourists and dumped her half-eaten lunch on Grover's lap. Oops, she grinned at me with her crooked teeth. Her freckles were orange as if somebody had spray painted her face with liquid Tito's. I tried to stay cool. The school counselor had told me a million times, count to 10, get control of your temper. But I was so mad, my mind went blank. A wave roared in my ears. I don't remember touching her, but the next thing I knew, Nancy was sitting on her butt in the fountain, screaming, "Percy pushed me!" Mrs. Dodds materialized next to us. Some of the kids were whispering.
Human being
Did-
lives.
She's not human.
Did she become material?
I would like to add a small anecdote that this is the first that reading the book for the first time, I thought it was a water fountain, and I was confused.
It is water fountain.
No, I mean like the ones at school.
You thought they were at school?
The ones that you push the button and the little trickle of water comes out. Yeah,
No,
I
I think
thought it
it's
was
one of
straight
those
up managed
fountains
to
that go like that.
this thing.
So a normal fountain?
Yeah. So like
No, it's just a normal fountain, and I'm incompetent.
after each chapter, we're gonna have a discussion about the chapter. Just
It's a
saying.
long chapter.
Did you see the water? Like it grabbed her. I didn't know what they were talking about. All I knew is that I was in trouble again. As soon as Mrs. Dodds was sure poor little Nancy was okay, I promising to get her a new shirt at the museum, gift shop, etc., etc., Mrs. Dodds turned on me. There was a triumphant fire in her eyes, as if I'd done something she'd been waiting for all semester. "Now, honey." "I know," I grumbled. "A month of erasing workbooks. That wasn't the right thing to say. Come with me," Mrs. Dodds said. "Wait!" Grover yelped. "It was me. I pushed her." I stared at him, stunned. I couldn't believe he was trying to cover for me. Mrs. Dodds scared Grover to death. She glared at him so hard his whiskery chin trembled. "I don't think so, Mr. Underwood," she said. "But you will stay here." Grover looked at me desperately. "It's okay, ma'am," I told him. "Thanks for trying." "Honey," Mrs. Dodds barked at me. "Now." Nancy Bobofit smirked. I gave her my deluxe "I will kill you later" stare. Then I turned to face Mrs. Dodds, but she wasn't there. She was standing at the museum entrance, way at the top of the steps, gesturing impatiently at me to come on. How did she get there so fast? I have moments like that a lot, when my brain falls asleep or something, and the next thing I know, I missed something, as if a puzzle piece fell out of the universe and left me staring at the blank place behind it. The school counselor told me this was part of the ADHD, my brain misinterpreting things. I wasn't so sure. I went after Mrs. Dodds. Halfway up the steps, I glanced back at Grover. He was looking pale, cutting his eyes between me and Mr. Brunner, like he wanted Mr. Brunner to notice what was going on, but Mr. Brunner was absorbed in his novel. I looked back up. Mrs. Dodds had disappeared again. She was now at the inside of the building, at the end of the entrance hall. Okay, I thought, she's going to make me buy a new shirt for Nancy at the gift shop. But apparently that wasn't the plan. I followed her deeper into the museum. When I finally caught up to her, we were back in the Greek and Roman section. Except for us, the gallery was empty. Mrs. Dodds stood up with her arms crossed in front of a big marble frieze of the Greek gods. She was making this weird noise in her throat, like growling. Even without the noise, I would have been nervous. It's weird being alone with a teacher, especially Mrs. Dodds. Something about the way she looked at the frieze, as if she wanted to pulverize it. I'm reading way faster. I don't know why. You've been giving us problems, honey, she said. I did the safe thing, and I said, yes, ma'am. She tugged on the cuffs of her leather jacket. Did you really think you were going to get away with it? The look in her eyes was beyond mad. It was evil. She's a teacher, I thought nervously. It's not like she was going to hurt me. I said, I'll try harder, ma'am. Thunder shook the building. We're not fools, Percy Jackson, Mrs. Dodd said. It was only a matter of time before we found you out. Confess, and you will suffer less pain. I didn't know what she was talking about. All I could think of was that the teachers must have found the illegal stash of candy I've been selling out of my dorm room, or maybe they realized I got my essay on Tom Sawyer from the internet without ever reading the book, and now they were going to take away my grade, or worse, they were going to make me read the book. Well, she demanded. Ma'am, I don't. Your time's up, she hissed. Then the weirdest thing happened. Her eyes began to glow like barbecue coals. Her fingers stretched, turning into talons. Her jacket melted into large leathery wings. She wasn't human. She was a shriveled hag with bat wings and claws and a mouthful of yellow fangs, and she was about to slice me to ribbons. Then things got even stranger. Mr. Brenner, who'd been out in front of the museum minutes before, wheeled his chair into the doorway of the gallery, holding a pen in his hand. What ho, Percy! He shouted and tossed the pen through the air. Mrs. Dodds lunged at me. With a yelp, I dodged and felt talons slash in the air next to my ear. I snatched the ballpoint pen out of the air, but when it hit my hand, it wasn't a pen anymore. It was a sword, Mr. Brenner's bronze sword, which he'd always used on tournament day. Mrs. Dodds spun toward me with a murderous look in her eyes. My knees were jelly. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped the sword. She snarled, "Die, honey!" And she flew straight at me. "Die, honey!" Absolute terror ran through my body. I did the only thing, like DIE, and then my knees were jelly. I already read that part. And she flew straight at me. Absolute terror ran through my body. I did the only thing that came naturally. I swung the sword. The metal blade hit her shoulder and plashed clean through her body as if she were made of water. Hiss! Mrs. Dodds was a sandcastle and a power fan. She exploded into yellow power. It vaporized on the spot, leaving nothing but the smell of sulfur and a dying screech, and a chill of evil in the air, as if those two glowing red eyes were still watching me. I was alone. There was a ballpoint pen in my hand. Mr. Brenner wasn't there. Nobody was there but me. My hands were still trembling. My lunch must have been contaminated with magic mushrooms or something. Had I imagined the whole thing? I went back outside and it had started to rain. Grover was sitting by the fountain, a museum map tented over his head. Nancy Bobofit was still standing there, soaked in her swim in the fountain, grumbling to her ugly friends. When she saw me, She said, I hope Mrs. Kerr whipped your butt. I said, who? Our teacher. Duh. I blinked. We had no teacher named Mrs. Kerr. I asked Nancy what she was talking about. She just rolled her eyes and turned away. I asked Grover where Mrs. Dodds was, and he said, who? But he paused at first, and he wouldn't look at me, so I thought he was messing with me. Not funny, man. I told him this is serious. Thunder boomed overhead. I saw Mr. Brenner sitting under his red umbrella, reading his book as if he never moved. I went over to him. He looked up, a little distracted. Ah, that would be my pen. Please bring your own writing utensil in the future, Mr. Jackson. I handed Mr. Brunner his pen. I hadn't even realized I was still holding it. Sir, I said, where's Mrs. Dodds? He stared at me blankly. Who? The other chaperone, Mrs. Dodds, the pre-algebra teacher? He frowned and sat looking forward, looking mildly concerned. Percy, there was no Mrs. Dodds on this trip. As far as I know, there's never been a Mrs. Dodds at Yancey Academy. Are you feeling all right? That's the end of that chapter.
Yummy.
Well, that's the end of that chapter.
And
just
I
need time.
I would like to read a chapter.
There's a bookmark underneath the bed.
Oh, you scared me to death.
I would like to read a chapter, but my phone is at 17%.
Talk to my sister.
Hi.
Bye.
I found one. We won't have to talk to my sister anymore.
So, I would like to read a chapter myself.
Were you reading along with the book? Oh, as I was reading?
I'm pretty sure I have my mom has a copy in the other room.
Oh, so you weren't. Okay. So, let's talk about the chapter, okay?
I'm gonna
So
be honest, his
Latin.
Latin teacher. I've read the book before. I've read the book before.
There's only one person in the chat.
I've read the book before. I'm allowed to do his Latin teacher seems real chill.
Real chill. It's like he's not even a teacher.
It's almost like he's not even a teacher. Shocking, I know.
What's the one person in the chat?
It's probably
Actually,
you.
that might be me, honestly.
What?
Isn't he who's posing as a teacher?
Don't spoil the book.
That's me. That's me.
Don't spoil the book because some people. So we're gonna post this after we're finished. So like, how many chapters are we gonna read? Like
two.
Like 2 chapters.
Maybe we could do 4.
4. That would be like 2 hours of streaming, though.
Because
this chapter was like 30 minutes.
What?
This chapter was like 30 minutes. We're already at 30.
Yeah. Could I read a chapter?
Can you read a chapter? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let me
go like back and forth. So like you read a chapter.
You can talk to your chair. I have to go see if it's in the other room.
Okay. So, how are you doing today?
Non-existent people on stream.
Yeah, non-existent people on stream. But they can say it in the comments. Wait, I just realized. Question of the day.
Oh.
Question of the day.
Any YouTuber.
What is your favorite food? Mine? So my favorite food is... I don't have a favorite food, really.
My favorite food, I don't know.
Well, my favorite food is fettuccine alfredo. Especially the chicken one.
My favorite food is not throwing up.
No, like, your favorite food when you do eat. Because you're not eating today, because you're sick.
I don't have favorite food.
Same. Oh, so that means Okay. My stomach hurts. I'm getting stabbed.
It's gonna make the whole thing like that.
No, not as in like I'm sick. My stomach hurts. I mean like I'm getting stabbed. My stomach hurts.
Like getting stabbed. My God.
No, it feels like my stomach is getting stabbed. Hi. Welcome back.
I did not find it.
Oh. So I'm reading all 4 of these chapters.
No, there's
Well,
two.
we probably shouldn't do 4 because 2 hours is a lot. But I'm pretty sure I do own a copy of the Lightning.
So you're not the person in the chat. It's actually a one-sided dice.
Did I really spoil it for
Hooray.
someone?
So did you like the book One-Sided Dice? We only read 1 chapter, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't really chat because I'm on my phone and I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. My phone is running low. Maybe we should cut it here.
You know I'm gonna continue reading, right? If you want to
What?
watch it, you should do it. I'm talking to my sister, sorry.
My phone is running out of battery. Maybe we should do this later.
He's dumb.
Oh no. Is that bad? I don't know if that's bad.
That's probably a mod, honestly.
Absolutely terrifying. Yeah, absolutely terrifying. Oh, I'm sorry.
So,
Sorry, I sound like I have no emotion. What are you showing me? Can you hold it?
where did the 2 other people come from?
I don't know. Where did they come from? You don't want to touch it.
Lips after touching it.
Hello, CJ Gaming. How are you doing?
Guess what happens when you put it in water? Nothing.
Sit in front of me. Me? Or the other person?
Oh, it's so pretty.
Cause
it wouldn't be me. It would be you because I
Charles. Charles.
I
Really,
did the
Charles?
front and math.
The one on left.
Do you have any idea how little that narrows it down?
Am I on the left? Oh. Hey, how you doing? I can't wait for Monday.
Glorious.
I love
Said
attacking
no one
Charles.
ever.
Charles is my favorite person to attack. Which means you can.
My phone is running really low on battery.
You gotta plug it in. I mean, I'm plugged in right now. I'm at 25%. Why am I still on airplane mode? Turn off.
So I'm gonna go, I guess. Maybe? I don't know.
What a
I
lovely weather.
can't prop up my phone if it's plugged in.
I mean, you can just put it on this
No.
like that.
I'm just gonna go.
We're just gonna go. Okay, I'll continue reading by myself, alone, with no one here with me except for the 3 people here. Charles.
I'll still be on. I'm just not gonna be
The guy sounds like Carl.
on. I have
So
no
your camera's not gonna be on. Can you join? Oh my gosh, that's such a good idea. Yes. Alright, I'm gonna have to end this stream for you to be. Wait, maybe I don't.
I'll still be in the stream with you. I will not be on
So
screen.
do you want me to remove you from the guest?
Yes.
Okay.
It's kind of weird. You know, if someone were to show a shower routine, they would be like wearing a swimsuit. Correct?
Okay. So gonna have to.
Mousetrap.
Alright, so just click the link that I sent you just now. Not you, Charles. I don't even have your phone number. Or anything like that. I think that's gonna work out. I don't know. Why? Why, Charles? Change title. I should probably do that. I don't know how. I'm gonna change the title. Oh, add guest. So, I had to get a new link. So click on the new link I sent you. Well, obviously I would, Charles.
There's a mouse. Like a mouse if you would use. Like,
Dang it! All right. So I'm going to end this. I'm going to end this stream and then make a new one. Goodbye.